Pick up any bottle of perfume in your bathroom. The glass weighs more than the liquid inside it. The cap costs more to manufacture than the fragrance it seals. For a bottle that retails at $150, the fragrance ingredients cost between $1.50 and $8. The packaging, the campaign, the name, that is where the rest goes. But here's something that might surprise you. The roses on the box, the jasmine in the photograph, the lavender in the description, most of them are not inside that bottle. Synthetic molecules are. This is how a $2 liquid becomes the most marked up product you own. Spray perfume on your wrist and wait. The first thing you smell, bright, sharp, citrusy, disappears in 15 to 30 minutes. Something warmer replaces it. By hour 4, only deep notes remain. Most people call this top notes, heart notes, base notes. They are not creative choices. They are physics. Each molecule has a specific weight measured in Daltons. Limonene, the citrus opener, weighs 136. It evaporates fast because it is light. Linalool, the floral middle, weighs 154. A synthetic musk in the base can weigh over 300, too heavy to leave skin without body heat. A perfumer engineers an evaporation curve, sequencing molecules by weight so the fragrance unfolds like controlled release. In 1920, a Russian-French chemist named Ernest Beau met Coco Chanel on the coast of Cannes. Her instruction was 4 words. Smells like a woman, not a rose. At that time, every fine fragrance was a soliflor, a single flower, bottled. To build something abstract, Beau reached for aldehydes, synthetic compounds that existed for decades but were avoided because they were powerful. According to a widely repeated account, an assistant added full-strength concentration instead of the intended 10% dilution. Beau kept the result. Chanel chose it, sample number 5. She launched it on the 5th of the 5th month of 1921. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Making a perfume still begins the way it did 3 centuries ago in Grasse, southern France. Flowers are harvested by hand within a window of hours. Rose petals are picked at dawn before heat degrades the oil. Jasmine is collected at night when the bloom releases its highest concentration. Steam distillation is the oldest extraction method. Roughly 500 kilograms of fresh rose petals are loaded into a stainless steel still. Steam at 100 degrees Celsius passes through the petals for 60 to 90 minutes. The vapor carries volatile oils upward through a condenser, where cold water converts it back to liquid. The oil floats on top and is separated. The yield is brutal. Those 500 kilograms produce roughly 150 grams of rose oil, a 0.03% extraction rate. Current market price for Bulgarian rose oil sits between $8,000 and $12,000 per kilogram. Jasmine requires solvent extraction because the petals are too fragile for steam. Hexane dissolves the oils from the flowers. The hexane evaporates under vacuum, leaving a waxy substance called concrete. That concrete is washed with ethanol to isolate the pure aromatic compound, the absolute. 3 to 4 million jasmine flowers produce roughly 1 kilogram of absolute. But more than 80% of compounds in a modern fine fragrance are synthetic. Linalool, the molecule behind lavender's scent, can be extracted from 700 kilograms of lavender, or synthesized from alpha-pinene, a turpentine compound, in 3 chemical steps. Natural version, roughly $80 per kilogram. Synthetic, around 5. Chemically identical, same structure, same scent. At the blending stage, a perfumer selects from a library of over 3,000 ingredients. The formula is measured by weight on scales precise to the milligram. A fine fragrance contains 50 to 80 compounds. The blend is diluted with ethanol. Parfum holds 15 to 40% fragrance oil, eau de parfum 15 to 20, eau de toilette 5 to 15. The diluted blend ages in steel vats for 3 to 6 weeks. This maceration allows molecules to bond and stabilize. Without it, the top notes would separate from the base. Every batch is tested by gas chromatography. The liquid is vaporized and passed through a separation column. Each compound produces a chemical fingerprint compared against a master standard. If any peak deviates beyond the threshold, the batch is rejected. That is how a perfume sold today smells identical to the same formula sold 60 years ago. Here's where the story flips. 4 companies, Givaudan, IFF-DSM Firmenich, and Symrise, formulate more than half of all flavors and fragrances sold worldwide. These are not perfume brands, they are ingredient laboratories. The same perfumer who composes a $300 fragrance may develop the scent for a $5 body wash the same week. Different client, same lab, same molecules. And the regulatory body governing fragrance safety, the International Fragrance Association, has restricted or banned over 1,200 ingredients since its founding. Oak moss, once essential to classic perfumes, is now severely limited. The result is that many vintage formulas cannot legally be reproduced. The perfume your mother wore in 1975 does not exist anymore. Beau spent the rest of his career at Chanel. He created Cuir de Russie, Gardenia, Bois d'Azil, all built on the same principle. Synthetics were not a shortcut, they were the instrument. In a 1953 interview, he said something the industry still quotes. "The future of perfumery is in the hands of chemists." He was right. Today, a trainee perfumer studies for 7 to 10 years before composing independently. They memorize the scent and behavior of over 3,000 raw materials. They work inside one of those 4 companies. They never sign their name on the bottle. The fragrance you recognize as Chanel or Dior was composed by someone whose name appears nowhere on the packaging. The brand owns the formula. The nose moves on to the next brief. Next time you spray perfume, hold your wrist still and count. The first 15 seconds are the lightest molecules leaving your skin at room temperature. No body heat required. They were chosen to sell to make you notice the fragrance on a tester strip in that first moment at the counter. By the 30-minute mark, those selling notes are gone. What remains is the middle, compounds heavy enough to resist room temperature evaporation, but light enough to project when your skin warms them. This is what the people around you actually smell for most of the day. The base arrives around hour 3. These molecules barely move without direct heat. They settle into fabric. They are what you notice on your collar at the end of the night, the part most people never register because it arrives so slowly. You are not wearing a scent. You are wearing a sequence, and the person who designed it also makes the smell of laundry detergent. The glass weighs more than the liquid. The cap costs more than the formula. But the formula is the only part that makes a stranger turn their head. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there is something you would like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.